You're listening to what my mom calls the greatest show on earth. I'm Christopher Story, your host for Great Adventures in Real Estate. Broadcasting live today from the corner of all things possible and prosperous plays. Dave Webbs, your engineer and producer, back up at the mothership of KPEN 102 FM. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the broadcast. It's going to be an awesome show. Did you know there's a big lottery winner right in our midst? That's right. You may have heard the big $600 million lotto, the big Powerball deal down in the lower 48. That's right. One of the winners lives here in Homer, Alaska. Now, those are sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. We'll bring you all the sordid details of those winnings. And before you ask, no, she's not loaning any money. I already asked. It's not going to happen. That's exciting, though. In the midst of your Christmas, somebody else is having this amazing joy. That's got to make you real happy. It's got to make you real happy. We're going to talk about a few things. Number one on my mind is the war in your backyard. I'm saying that your backyard has become the new front line. It's never been more evident than it is right now. Again, Christmas is a week out. I'm not trying to be a bah humbug or anything here, but I don't think we have the luxury right now, you and I, to take our eye off of the ball. It's become more and more important. So I talked about this on Alaska Matters Radio yesterday because it's pertinent and it's something that everybody needs to pay attention to, even if you're not just a real estate junkie like you and me. If you're just a radio talk junkie and you just like to hear political talk radio and so forth, that's great. That's why I wanted to share it with Alaska Matters Radio listeners. But you and I, of course, understand the great advantages and values of investing in real estate and so forth, and the sovereignty that exists in private property and how powerful that is. And it's worthy of protecting. It's worthy of going to the mats over. And so I teased with this story, and then I didn't get a chance to talk about it. So it comes out of the Miami Herald. The gist of this is that a retired architect and his wife had been planting okra, kale, lettuce, onions, and a dozen more variety of Asian cabbages and other things in their front yard garden. That's the key. Front yard garden. But Miami Shores Villages, goes on the Miami Herald, Miami Shores Village leaders were unhappy with the Ricketts Green Thumb, ordered her and her husband, Tom Carroll, to dig up the bounty that they'd been growing for the past 17 years in their front yard or face fines of $50 a day. A front yard garden violates zoning ordinances, the village official said. Can you believe it? Now, backyard garden, no problem. Front yard garden, big problem. Unless you're growing, you can grow fruit, you can grow ornamentals. That's it. You can't grow anything that you can harvest and sell at a farmer's market or eat. This couple goes on to talk about the fact that they used to never spend money on their produce. They were growing exactly what they needed to eat. They were sustaining on their own property. And you can imagine that's not easy to do. You don't do that haphazardly. What I'm getting at is it looks nice. I'm looking at a photograph of it right now out of the Miami Herald. This is a beautiful garden. This is not something, there's no toilets. There's no, broken toilet bowls out there filled with growing heads of cabbage or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, those of you that have those. It's fine. I'm just saying this is a very well thought out, well plotted garden. And this couple, most importantly, is growing it on their own property. And imagine that. A zoning authority can come in and tell them that, oh, yeah, if this was out back, no problem. Out front, big problem. And it actually looks beautiful. You know what, folks? It's time to take a stand. It's time to speak up. Because the same kind of authority, the same kind of nonsense is happening in your backyard. If you think I'm wrong on that, think back to the fight that happened in your backyard over Ordinance 2011-12. That's right, the Anadromous Streams Ordinance. It was a taking of land. It was creating a zone. It was a creation of a whole morass of zoning laws that then you almost become a tenant. We almost go back to serfdom, where we become a serf on the landlord's property, and you have to go and ask, Mayor Navarre, may I do something with the first 50 feet of my property, Mayor Navarre? And he would send out the River Center and the folks from the River Center. And I'm exaggerating Mayor Navarre's involvement in the actual decision of what you could do on your property because he so adamantly fought for Assemblyman Smith's ordinance, the anadromous streams ordinance. There is no difference in my mind between that and this fight in Miami Shores, Florida. It's the same thing. It's the same fight that Mike Kennedy fought for here in Homer, Alaska, to the tune of $1.87 million in fines that he faced with the Homer Planning and Zoning Department. City Manager Walt Reedy took him to court over $1.87 million in fines. They settled out for very little. Settled out for virtually nothing. Mike came out of pocket a couple $1,000s. In my opinion, a couple $1,000s too much. But nevertheless, I digress. The fight is happening. Let's go to my fence. My fence is, as it turns out, those of you that aren't aware of the fight that we struggle with daily on my property, is in the state right-of-way. It's not even in the purview. It's not even in the jurisdiction of the planning department in our own backyard here in Homer. And yet, the planning department went out of their way to make problems for me. Now, you can draw your own conclusions as to why that is. I call it selective enforcement. I happen to have a big mouth. I happen to use said big mouth. They don't like it. I am selectively enforced. The point is, the state Department of Transportation came along. I've got the emails. I did a Freedom of Information Act. I've got the email. They said, no problem. We'll grant a letter of non-objection. And they were told, whoa, don't send that. Don't send that. And to a point where we are now forced to remove a very beautiful fence that is actually providing safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. We'll continue to discuss the new front line, which is your backyard. We'll have our AJ's Old Town Steakhouse real estate trivia contest. We're going to talk about how old your realtors are all across America, and the latest attack is on senior citizens on the Kenai Peninsula and their property tax. That and more coming up here on Radio Realty. It's tragic when you see a letter like this. A listener, Pete Zuyas, has written a letter to the borough mayor and the assembly. I'm going to read you that letter. He's asked his assemblyman to read it into the record at their next assembly meeting. And I said, Pete, I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it might. Assemblyman Smith may read it into the record. I don't know. But I said, would you mind if I read it into the record as well, Pete? Because I think it's important to get it out there. I think prior to you voting to increase your exemption to $50,000 for your primary residence rather than $20,000. Assemblyman Smith came to Homer, sat before the Homer City Council. He may have said it in other places, but I specifically know and have the audio of him sitting in front of the Homer City Council saying, we are going to have to look for other places to get revenues and probably going to have to increase the senior taxes, seniors' property taxes. Now, they never say it that way. It's just like when the Homer mayor talks about reinstituting the non-prepared foods sales tax. There he goes again. That's right. When she talks about reinstituting that tax, she says, no, it's not a tax increase. It's just getting back what we... No. If you go from 0 to 4.5%, that is a tax increase. And then you can decrease it and then increase it. Well, let's use real language. Assemblyman Smith, as far as I know, the entire borough assembly, with the exception of probably Assemblyman Ogle, probably Assemblyman Wolf, is my hunch. I don't know for certain, but I'm going to guess those two are not interested in increasing senior citizens' property taxes, but I'm going to reach out to them. Nevertheless, later in the program, I'll be reading you Pete Zuyas's letter because it's actually moving. It's very moving. I have an alert here for those of you in Homer, and I'm not trying to be dramatic about this, but Councilman Lewis is asking for a resolution at the first meeting in January from City Manager Walt Reedy to bring back the non-prepared food sales tax year-round. So I'm just saying, Homer residents, be alert, be on the lookout. This is, it's coming. So there's just almost no way to escape it. Almost no way to escape it. In a little bit, we're going to be talking about home rule also, and I have an invitation for you to come down to my office if you're in the Homer Anchor Point area, specifically if you're a registered voter in Homer, but anybody and everybody is welcome to come into the office, the corner of West Hill and the Sterling Highway, 1005 Carriage Court, Story Real Estate, and let's talk home rule. Even if you're not eligible to sign the petition, I don't mind. you come in. I would love for you to come in. I would love to discuss home rule. Here's what I think. I think you and Soldotna are going to take a real close look at what we're doing here in Homer to write a constitution and to establish rules and principles by which we are living and governed and govern ourselves. It's a government of and for and by the people. I believe you're going to see that come to life here. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said, I just don't know. I don't know. They don't follow the rules as they are right now. He's talking specifically Homer. You could broaden that statement to, gosh, I don't know, throw a dart at the map. And he said they don't follow the rules now. A great example is that we have something called the Homer Accelerated Road and Trails Program. It originated as the roads program only, but it's a 0.75% increase of sales tax we voted on to impose upon ourselves and put into a fund that would allow us to build out roads. It was then amended to roads and trails. And the City of Homer taps into that willy-nilly. Hey, does anybody want to get a 6-foot Subway sandwich? Let's go to the Heart Funds. And it's almost that bad. For example, there is a study done of the harbor economic feasibility. We need to pay for this study somehow. It's going to be $6,200 and some odd dollars. And it's not even the study, folks. It was a committee to oversee the study, et cetera. So it was just an ad hoc committee, and they said, well, we got to get some money. Well, let's get it from the Heart Funds. How do you justify that? How do you justify that? So he says to me, Chris, what makes you think they're going to follow new rules? If we institute new rules, and I'm going to tell you what. This is my assumption. This is what I believe. Community buy-in. You are going to be part of the building and establishing of a constitution. And I believe that if you are part of that process, you're not going to allow things like this to happen where somebody wants to grow food for their family. You're going to charge them $50 a day until they remove it in a zoning violation. I don't believe so. I believe if somebody tried to co-opt the rules and went out and got an attorney to come up with a decision that made that, you can sue that guy. Nobody can ever tell how much litigation you're going to have in a year. You're not going to go to the attorney and get this kind of stuff. This kind of thing is going to come to a halt. We are going to write a preamble. We're going to have a constitution that guarantees and protects your rights. And that is home rule, my friend. That is exactly what I'd love to talk to you about today between 2 and 4 o'clock at Story Real Estate. And if you like the concept, come and sign the petition. You have nothing to lose. I'm telling you, you got nothing to lose. We are in some serious trouble. We are in some serious trouble. A warning, all Homer citizens in Sector 14. Sector 14. You're to report to the Citizens Academy at 1200 hours, 1 January. If you fail to show to the Citizens Academy, your food pellets will be reduced, as will your neighbors in Sector 13. And you know how angry the units in Sector 13 get when they're hungry. Again, units in Sector 14 report to the Homer Citizens Academy, 1 January, 1200 hours. If you know what's good for you, you're not going to ignore the Homer Citizens Academy. You in Soldotna, you morons in Soldotna that don't understand you need to pay more in sales tax, you're going to get your own Citizens Academy before it's over. Kodiak, you guys want to keep more of your own money? Oh, here comes your Citizens Academy. I'm not sure what the uniforms are going to look like, my friend, but we are in dangerous times, and we'll discuss that in further detail here on Radio Realty. Attention, all units in Sector 8. Report to Homer Citizens Academy, 2 February at 1200 hours. Failure to report will result in increased work regiments for all units in Sector 8. Be sure to report any units discussing home rule. All home rule units will be reformed. Again, Homer Citizens Academy is using your tax dollars to teach you why you need to pay more taxes. All units must enroll. All units, home rule units, must be defeated. AJ's Old Town Steakhouse and Tavern, bringing you Waterfront back to life. The old waterfront you know, remember, and love. It's come back to life, folks, in Old Town Homer on Bunnell Avenue. Live music, great food. AJ's, people see this about AJ's. Love, love, love the atmosphere. Come as you are or get dressed up for a special occasion. You'll fit right in at AJ's Old Town Steakhouse. For me, it's like walking into a restaurant from, 40, 50 years ago in the concept. Everybody's welcome. It's sophisticated, but you don't feel it's too fancy. You know what I'm saying? It's sophistication, good, real good food. It's an awesome environment. I love AJ's Old Town Steakhouse, and so will you. Here's your question. I want to send you there for free. What is the median age of a realtor? What is the median age of a realtor? This is nationwide, 1.2 million of us. Imagine that. Imagine if there was an uprising of realtors. 1.2 million strong army of mind-numbed. No, we're great. We're awesome. We're incredibly smart and above average and all that good stuff. Age-wise, 57, 45, or 30. Send me a text right now, 299-7653. Enter to win, 299-7653. All I need is your name and your guess at the age of the average realtor. Excuse me, it's median realtor. So it's age 57, 45, or 30. 299-7653. 299-7653. I want you to enter to win. Lots more coming up. I've got a letter that I'm going to read into the record for Pete Zuyes. He's a senior citizen defending all seniors. And, in fact, I'll take it a step further. He's defending all property owners. If we lose this, what's next? It's likely to be you. Somebody's going to be on the hook for this thing. And right now they're targeting the seniors. You're next. I'm going to tell you all about it. Don't go anywhere. I'm Chris Story for all of us at Radio Realty. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
As they say in my business, I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Believe it or not, there are people within the Kenai Peninsula Borough asking for zoning powers given to the Borough Assembly in the Kenai Peninsula Borough. We do not want that. You do not want zoning powers. Trust me, you don't want it. I mean, think back to the Miami Herald story I gave you earlier in the first half of the program. $50 a day fine for having a garden on the wrong side of your house. Wow. By the way, you cannot have a garden gnome either. That I agree with. Maybe that's okay, right? Maybe we should have zoning powers. And I could have all of the czar-like powers. Bizarre zoning powers with Chris Story. No gnomes. Garden gnomes aren't that bad. But they are outlawed down there in Florida. I mean, you got Mike Fence, you got Mike Kennedy. There are countless examples. Countless examples. If you need another reason to be convinced about home rule, here in Homer, as you know, we are discussing that. A group of people are discussing it, and lots of citizens are obviously who have not attended the Homer Citizens Academy, which was funded and founded by the Homer City Council at their last meeting. I cannot wait to go to the first one. It's going to be exciting. And when we get to the education camp, I will probably understand this better. But until then, if you're not of that mind yet, you're probably going to sign the home rule petition because you're going to think back to when, by the way, I'm Christopher Story. You're listening to Radio Realty. Along with me is Mr. David Webb, the engineer and broadcast producer back up at the mothership of KPEN 102 FM. Miss a minute of this program, you could miss a million. Home rule, USAD, Special Assessment District. Do you recall when you, the taxpayer, built out NSTAR's infrastructure? And now, NSTAR is a private company. And your tax dollars were used to build out their infrastructure. So the people of Homer, it was a reverse vote. In fact, I had a gentleman in my office yesterday. I use that term loosely. Gentleman, not office. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. He owns property in Homer. He's a busy man. He's got businesses. He's out of state. He's back in. He's coming. He's going. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, you got the letter, right? You got the certified letter that you had to respond to vote no for the Special Assessment District to build out NSTAR's infrastructure with your dollars. And if you did vote no, it had to be with a qualifying reason. You couldn't just say no. You had to justify, and it had to be a good enough reason to say no on your property. Now you're going to be liened in the coming year. Every property. Okay, that's one thing, right? So you're building out NSTAR's private infrastructure with, by force, a gun to the head of the citizenry. It really wasn't a choice there when you think about how that vote took place. And here's the kicker. For those of you around the peninsula, we're using our own money from the Borough Assembly, loaned to the city of Homer to build this out, paid back by the robots of Homer, paid back by the enslaved people of this community at a higher interest rate than could be garnered anywhere else in the marketplace. So the borough's holding $100 million. They take $12 million, loan it to Homer at a rate higher than they could achieve elsewhere in the marketplace, and that's how it was sold. Like, that feels good. Hey, I'm beating you with a bigger stick than I could beat anybody else out there with. You should like that. This should feel good to you. And I ask you again, do you want zoning power in the borough? I don't. I really don't. I mean, this is something that I'll discuss if you want to discuss it. I don't want it. I give you example after example, and by the end of it, you probably won't either. AJ's Old Town Steakhouse Real Estate Trivia Contest. Here's the question. What is the median age of a realtor around America? Remember, there's 1.2 million of us. Is the median age of a realtor 57, 45, or 30? 57, 45, or 30. I'm asking you to text me your answer, your name and answer. Best guess is fine. 57, 45, or 30. It's a pretty wide age range there, but take a guess. Send me a text, 299-7653. Got a lot of people who've already entered to win, but you know what? It's a random drawing. Enter your name as well. You could be going to AJ's Old Town Steakhouse. As you know, if you were listening to the first half of the program, there was a lottery winner in Homer. That's right. The big lottery, $600+ million given away, and or won, I should say. And there is a lottery winner in Homer. And I shouldn't reveal her identity, but let me just say her initials rhyme with Tammy Ackerman. So, Dave, let's roll that conversation. All right, Tammy Ackerman, big winner of yesterday's, was it a Powerball, Tammy? What lottery exactly were you an enormous winner of?
It was the Mega Millions.
Mega Millions. Now, where did you buy the ticket, Tammy?
I bought my ticket in Michigan.
In Michigan. Did you have a family member buy it, or were you down there?
I did have a family member buy it.
And now, do you have to share in some of the winnings with that family member?
I did promise my father half of the winnings, so I will have to share it.
So you're going to share 50% of your winnings. This was in the Mega Millions. What was the top prize? Not your prize, but what was the top prize out of this lottery?
Oh, somewhere around $636 million.
Wow. Imagine if you had won that and having to split that with Dad. That'd be okay. Now, again, when you heard the news, you were one of the winners, not the main winner, but one of the winners of this lottery. What was the first thing that went through your mind?
The first thing that went through my mind, I guess trying to figure out how I was going to spend that money or invest it.
Now, this is a real estate program, Radio Realty. We do talk investment strategy here. If off air you'd like to have a conversation about how and what types of investments and rates of return are available to you in the Alaska peninsula, preferably our market, please don't hesitate to call. So, Tammy, for your own security and protection, I don't think it's a wise idea to actually give out your location in Homer. You are in Homer, but I don't think to give out your exact address would be safe for you. Are you looking at any sort of protection and or maybe investment, like an LLC, or any legal advice on what to do just to protect yourself, even from family members that may come out of the woodwork?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the advice of past winners and take a few days to let it all sink in and talk to my advisors about that.
Tammy, as you know, you mentioned past winners. I wasn't going to bring this up, but you went there. Most of them lose within a 18-month period, maybe 36 months, lose everything they won. Are you prepared to do the opposite and actually hold on to these winnings?
I am prepared to hold on to my winnings for the long term.
All right, good for you. Tammy, I appreciate so much. I mean, I know that media outlets everywhere are probably in touch and trying to get with you. So do you mind just revealing the exact total of what you did win?
Well, I was excited to find out that I did match the actual mega ball. So the mega ball plus one number, I brought in $2.
Wait a minute, $2?
$2. I'm a big winner.
$2. You know what? There's another realtor I'm going to connect you with. Tammy Ackerman, the big winner, $2 in the Powerball Lottery Lotto. Good for you, Tammy. Congratulations and Merry Christmas. Don't spend it all in one location.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, smiling next to Oprah and the Queen. Oh, every time I close my eyes, I see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear we're better prepared for when I'm
Yeah, $2. Congratulations, Tammy. Either way, right? That's $2 more than I won. What she didn't say, cost of the ticket, $5. Yeah, it cost her $5 for a $2 win, and plus she has to split it with Dad, so that means she gets $1. So I'm not even going to try to. But you know what? She got on the radio. Hello, that's worth millions right there, and she may be the next big billionaire. Don't forget to enter our AJ's Old Town Steakhouse Real Estate Trivia Contest. When we come back, I'm going to share a senior moment. It's a letter written to the borough mayor and assembly folk. I'll read it to the record right here on Radio Realty. Bam! That's how you know it's Christmas. Homer News, the Christmas edition, coming out tomorrow. Pick it up wherever newspapers are sold. That was actually kind of fun. Went into Walmart at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. I had the pleasure and the privilege of being asked to come up to the Kenai Peninsula Association of Realtors Christmas party and award ceremony. It was sort of funny because the association executive officer said, well, would you like to say a few things before you install the new officers up here? Because that's what I was being asked to do, essentially. And I said, sure, that'd be fine. And so then when I was introduced, they said, Chris Story's here to install the new officers here for the Board of Realtors, but first he wanted to say a few words. Like, I didn't want to say a few words. You asked me to. Anyway, great group of people. I mean, really awesome leadership in the Central Peninsula and all around Soldotna Kenai. Just great group of realtors. And what I told them is I said, you know what? Being part of the realtor family is important to me, and that's exactly what it is. During the break, Dave Webb and I were talking about when you work closely together with people, it's more about being a family. You become a family when you work closely together with people, and that's just a natural thing, and that's what really irks me when I see, it's too close to Christmas. Okay, when I see Nimrods online talking about how capitalism is evil, and these pinko commies start talking about how, we need to up the minimum wage and everybody needs to get the same. And I was like, you don't understand how capitalism works. You don't understand. And, Rick Abbott was my guest yesterday on Alaska Matters Radio. If you missed that, I mean, I'm encouraging you, I'm asking you, I'm offering you to go listen to the interview. AlaskaMattersRadio.com, AlaskaMattersRadio.com. And Rick talked about Spenard Builder Supply, his employer, how wonderful they were, absolutely wonderful they were to work with him all during his illness. And what started this conversation here was Dave Webb and I were talking about the generosity and the absolute benevolence and just great, gracious heart of Dave Becker and Eileen Becker here at the station. Yeah, exactly. Here. Dave chimed in for his Christmas bonus. Anyway, I digress. Back to our Homer News Minute. It's going to be out tomorrow. I saw it on the shelves there at Walmart, is my point. So it was kind of cool. It's like, there's the Homer News up here at Walmart. Why was I at Walmart 8 a.m.? Well, we wanted to hit the road early. And trust me, we had the place to ourselves. I told Tiffany I'm embarrassed going in there, and I don't even know why. I just don't like to go in there. I don't know. I mean, it's great stuff. I just, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's new. First time I ever used a cell phone. You want to hear something funny? First time I ever used a cell phone in public, it wasn't even that long ago. I felt really silly, and it was in Anchorage at the parking lot of Red Robin. What am I doing, commercials for everybody out of town? It was in the parking lot of Red Robin, and it was my mom's. It was one of those Mactel phones in the mid-'90s, maybe early '90s, and a little flip deal on the bottom, and she handed it to me and said, here, you can use this. And I was like, no, I don't want to use a cell phone. And I actually got between the two cars and made the call. I felt funny. It was weird. So I'm not an early adopter, I guess is what I'm getting at. Homer News Minute. Lots of stuff you don't want to hear about. That's right. Homer Police have got an advisory here that I'm not going to tell you about, but you can read about it in the Homer News. See? There. Now you're going to want to go look at it. House Bill 77 has generated a lot of protest and a lot of storm. Peter Machicki, who sponsored hearings on the bill in Homer and Soldotna, said he thinks the bill can be changed. Well, what I'm hearing about HB 77 is essentially it's a taking of your rights to your water rights. If that's exactly how it's going to come down, absolutely not. I say just let's tank this thing. We do not need to give more authority to the central government, even if it's Alaska. We trust them now. What about tomorrow? Come on, let's think about it. Also, we've got an 18-year-old Ninilchik student who has been chosen for honors there at Carnegie Hall. She's going to perform Carnegie Hall in February. Cassie Burkhart nominated Homer High School choir Kyle Schneider. Read all about it. I'm not going to read you the whole newspaper. I can't sit here and read you the whole Homer News. Go to homernews.com or pick up the paper tomorrow. Congratulations to those youngsters, though. That's very important. Attention, those yet to enroll in the new Homer Citizens Academy. You have until 28 December to do so. Open enrollment will be through 28 December. Thereafter, the purging will begin in sectors 1 through 8. Sectors 1 through 8. Again, all units must enroll in the Homer Citizens Academy. This is not an option. Resistance is futile. AJ's Old Town Steakhouse. Don't forget, enter to win. I will answer it. Man, I've got so many. It's going to be tough, but I want you to enter to win, too. Don't you worry about it. Don't worry about how many have already entered. Why are you even thinking about it? What's the average age of a realtor around America? 299-7653. Your options are 57, 45, or 30. 57, 45, or 30. 299-7653. Interesting. What do we got to do? You know what? I'm going to come back with Pete's letter. I'm going to read it when we come back. I'm not going to fool around anymore. That's it. We are going to read Pete Zuyas' letter as soon as we come back here on Radio Realty.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground.
All right, our senior moment. Assemblyman Smith warned you, seniors, if you vote for the $50,000 exemption on your primary residence, the borough is going to have to go after the seniors first. And they have. I'm asking you to call your assembly and demand that they cut the budget, use reserves. We've got millions and millions of dollars in reserves. Get creative. Stop raising taxes. Do not raise the taxes on our senior citizens. Number one, it's a very small portion of the borough. It's a very small portion of the homeowners are qualifying for this exemption. That's number one. Number two, it's wrong. Without them, you'd not be here. Without what the seniors have done for you and done for I, and I'm not going to repeat the President Barack Hussein Obama where he says you didn't build it. You've earned what you've got. I do not deny you that. But I am saying without the people that sat through these long, cold winters with no access to plowed roads, with no access to public schools, with no access to decent roads, water systems, sewerage systems, community and municipal efforts that have come together, and the capital that has been achieved here, the capitalism, the stores, Scott Ulmer, and not that he's qualifying for this exemption, although he's probably close. His family has been building a business in this community since '76. Who remembers Coast to Coast? And then it turned into Ulmer's Drug and Hardware. Those people, Ulmer, I think it was his name, Ulmer, Scott's dad. Great guy. You're telling me that if he was living still and he was down here, you would deny that man who pioneered hardware, pioneered the Rexalls around Alaska? He shouldn't have a little exemption. Give me a break. Here is Pete Zuyas' letter. Dear Mayor Navarre and Assembly members, my name is Peter Zuyas Sr. I'm 68 years old and live on the Kenai Peninsula in the Homer area. My wife and I are seniors directly affected by Ordinance 2013-36 that has been brought to the Assembly for consideration. We moved to the Kenai Peninsula Borough after traveling throughout the state, searching for the best location to retire. In addition to the beauty of the KPB, the borough touted unlimited senior real estate exemption, which helped solidify our decision to retire here. We moved to the area several years before reaching 65, spent a substantial sum of money on our home and improvements under the false premise that the KPB had made a commitment to its seniors for the unlimited exemption, only to find out that after turning 65, that promise to seniors was taken away. The exemption was reduced to unlimited to $320. Was voted to increase to $350 in 2013, and now some members of the Assembly want to reduce that amount to $300. A biased and dubious example of the exemption is being used as a reason to lower the exemption value. However, nowhere in the 2007 ordinance does that example wording appear. It is not part of the ordinance, so why give it any consideration at all? There is no reason. Ordinance 2013-36 is an ordinance built on false premise. There are several items that I'm asking you to consider when voting. The residential exemption has no mention of surrendering the residential exemption upon turning 65 years old. They are two separate exemptions. It specifically states that the exemption is in effect while owned and occupied by the owner. The senior exemption has no mention of surrendering the residential exemption upon turning 65. The two exemptions are exclusive of each other and should be value added together for a total of $350,000 exemption available to qualified seniors. Unfortunately, I'll not be able to attend your January 7th Assembly meeting. Our family is sitting in the hospice with our 6-year-old granddaughter, Scarlett Olivia Zuyas, who has a rare and terminal form of brain cancer. She fought for a year-long battle and has been sent home from St. Jude's Medical Center to spend her last days with her family, and we are here with her at this time. I ask my Assembly District 8 Representative, Mr. Smith, to read this letter into the Assembly record at the January 7th meeting prior to any vote, so that my objection to Ordinance 2013-36 is on the record with the borough. I respectfully submit that the Assembly vote no on Ordinance 2013-36. Thank you for your time and consideration. Peter T. Zuyas, Homer, Alaska. First of all, Peter, my heart goes out to you and your family. Secondly, bravo. That is exactly what the borough and the Assembly and the borough mayor need to hear, is this affects real people. And this is a slippery slope. And in the first place, seniors created the slope. Seniors created what is Alaska, my grandparents. I shudder to think that if my grandmother was being attacked by this Assembly, God help you. I'm telling you what, she would have, because they chose well, because they invested and they fought long and hard to hold on to their property. If that, anybody, it's too close to Christmas to get this worked out, but I'm telling you something, if the Assembly doesn't turn this out, I'm going to make it a point to make every assemblyman that votes for this notary. I'm going to give them the notoriety that they never thought they would get. I'm going to give every assembly person that votes for this ordinance so much special attention in such a special way, because it's really disturbing to me. Do we need more tax dollars? That's not my determination to make. That is what management, that is what the Assembly is to do. That is what the mayor is to do. Make a case for it. But don't you tell me you have $12 million in the bank to loan Homer to build NSTARS infrastructure, and then you turn to the seniors, the most precious and the most vulnerable and the most limited of needs and income, and you tell them because the assessed value has reached a certain point, they need to contribute and pay more. Do their kids go to school here anymore? No. Do they steal and take jobs from, steal is the wrong word, are they competing for jobs with the growth sector of our community, the younger families we're trying to attract? No. This is wrong. I'm asking you to contact your assemblyman. I'm asking you to contact Mayor Mike Navarre and say to scrap this idea, leave the seniors alone. $350,000, we're talking about a handful of people, but we're sending a message to the seniors, and I'm saying this is a slippery slope, and it's just the beginning. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the audience. Thank you for being part of the movement that is happening in taking back our town. It cannot just be Homer. It cannot just be Homer. It's got to be borough-wide. It's got to be in your town. And then we move to the state, and then we move to the country, and we take it back. And we say that we're not going to tolerate this. We are not going to allow our private property rights to be handed away, slipped away, taken away. We will stand on principle, and the seniors need your protection right now. I wanted to say a panty waist, but I'm not going to. I can see somebody right now rolling his eyes, and he knows who he is. And, he's just exaggerating it again. You know what? This isn't going to affect that many people, but let me tell you, it's going to affect the vulnerable people and the people that need you and I to stand up and say enough. No. Get the money somewhere else. You've got so much money to hand out to Homer and loan money to build. And are you putting that together? That every property owner in Homer has become a serf to NSTAR. I'm telling you what, I hope this gets challenged on such a massive scale that any city council person that voted for this, any assemblyman who voted to loan the money to Homer, anybody who had their fingers on building out NSTAR's infrastructure in our area, I hope they never hold elected office again. And I really want to see this come to light. But what we can do right now is just support the seniors. Let's work on that together. AJ's Old Town Steakhouse, Mike and Debbie. Mike and Debbie are the two winners. Yeah, 57 years old. That's the median age. I almost apologize for getting so worked up over that, but this is serious, guys. I'm not going to apologize. Still Merry Christmas, but, this is serious. And that's how passionate I am about this. We have to protect those seniors. How dare the Borough Assembly come after them first? They told you they were going to do it. Assemblyman Smith was telling you from the beginning, you vote for this, and this is punitive, this is retaliatory, and this has got to be stopped in its tracks. Call your assemblyman. All right, so the median age is 57 years old. Wow, let's just take a quick look at this. In 1999, the median age of a realtor was 52. It has increased all the way up to 57. What you can infer from this is younger people are not getting into the industry and becoming realtors. I'm telling you, it's a great industry. I think you ought to look at it if you're part of the young crowd. Guess who's looking for young realtors and recruiting young realtors? You guessed it, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett ain't nobody's dummy. That's right. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Dave, Webb, Melly, you guys have a great Christmas, right?
We are looking forward to it, and to you and Tiffany and Cooper, too.
Oh, thanks. I guess I got to remember your dog's name now.
Yeah.
Sadie, right? Sabi, not Sadie. Okay, Sable. That's right, Sable. All right, it's going to be awesome. You have a Merry Christmas. I will be back here on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day. We're going to have some iteration of this program. And, of course, in the meantime, you can always go to our websites, radiorealty.us, and our brand-new website. Thank you, Dave McCormick. I promise you, I'm going to talk more and more about our website, AlaskaMattersRadio.com, built by GTL Design. Awesome people. Merry Christmas.